Hey, this is Geeky Pastimes, and today we're going to do the guide for the new intel mission for Warzone. This one is called Old Wounds, and you can get to it as per usual, going over to the missions page, then going over to intel, then it's down here. As always, make sure that you press the view intel on it. So select it by pressing the confirm button just to make sure it's selected, then press the triangle button to make sure you view intel. So this one says, discover how Zakhev's been staying hidden and find a location in a message Ghost sent you. You press triangle to view intel, and you can see this is in the Panopticon inside the prison, so that's where we're going to head. I normally do this in plunder mode, so you can just jump in there, get the intel, then get out again. So let's show you where it is. So the first piece of intel for this week is in the prison, and most of the prison actually. If you go into the top part of the Panopticon, so the first piece of the intel for this week is over here in the top of the Panopticon, and it's just here, so you can collect that. Then once you see Ghost in the top right, that's when you know you've collected it. I actually couldn't do this for a long while. I had to restart it lots and lots of times to get in, but this is just right in the middle of the prison underneath the top floor. So once you get into the sort of prison area, the Panopticon is this tower in the middle, and it's on the top floor there. So once you've done that, you can leave the game and then go into the next one. So once you've got out of the game, you can go back over towards challenges, go to missions, go over to intel, down to old wounds, and you can see we're now on 2 of 6, which says a hidden code was found in the prison. You can view the intel. Sometimes it takes a long while to load, and this one says some signal came from in here. The Armistice 3-1 signal comes from in here, and found this. And then you've got that Russian character that looks a bit like a B, but with like a flat bit at the top, 2, and then what looks like lots of lines. Can you decipher it? So we'll head back into the game to find it. As a side note, if people have been struggling with this, when I couldn't get the first piece of intel all day yesterday, the thing that might have possibly fixed it, or the thing that some people suggested and I tried and then I could pick it up, was loading the intel and then shutting it really quickly like this. Sometimes when you try to shut it, it takes a long while, and that seemed to be the thing that was stopping us. So have a go at that, just in case it works. There's no way for me to confirm it, but just open and shut it really quickly, just to see if that helps at all. So we'll head back into the game and get the second piece of intel. So for this second piece of intel, we're going to be heading back to the prison. Like I said, we're going to be in the prison for all of these. And this time we need to go a little bit further down into the Panopticon, into the cells. So I normally just try and grab a helicopter right at the beginning, then rush down into the cells. Sometimes you're going to have to kill people, obviously. Now you can see here, each one of these floors is kind of marked by a letter. So that first one is A. And then this next one has that B symbol, which is what we saw on the intel. We can check all of these different cells. And then hopefully one of them is going to have the intel on it. So you can see this one's just on a radiator. That's what those lines were about. Was the intel was sort of talking about it being hidden on top of a radiator. So once you've got the ghost symbol again, that means you can leave the game and go into the next one. Just showing the map, obviously we're still in prison. So as always, once you're back in the game, make sure you go back over to challenges, over to missions, over to intel, and then old wounds. You can see we're on 3 out of 6 now, and this one says follow the trail left by Armistice 3-1. You can load this, and this is one of the ones that's super interesting, because obviously Perseus has been talked about in the teaser trailer for Black Ops Cold War, so this is kind of the first confirmation that these two universes are crossing over, that Modern Warfare and Black Ops are now happening in the same universe, or at least Warzone is. So it says, finish what father began, add the /Perseus. Perseus tried recruiting IZ, moving to Showers Block 2. Now that's a fairly easy clue. Obviously we're going to be going down to the Showers Block 2, which is right at the bottom of the prison. So we'll head back into another game of Plunder and we'll show you where it is. So this is the next piece of intel. Now I'm going to go into the prison through the lower way this time, through this pipe. It's just on the sort of west side of the prison. And this leads you up straight into the showers, which is where this next piece of intel is going to be. Now, you don't want to be searching around in this bottom bit of the showers, the sort of gulag area where you fight. Instead, you want to be going up and into these kind of little cells, you know, where sometimes you spawn. And this last one, just before this big window, this is where the intel's going to be. So you can see it's just on top of the sort of toilet cistern. Then you can press collect intel. Wait for Ghost to appear as always. And then you're done for this one. Like I said, you can go in the pipe that's just down where my car's parked down there. Then come up through the floor and then just come up to these stairs by the window, and it's the first little cell here. Okay, then we'll head back out of Plunder and go look at the next piece. So as always, go back over to challenges, missions, intel, old wounds, and you can see now we're on 4 out of 6. And this one says Zakhaev was using an office in the prison. Now the offices are higher up in prison, they're not down in the sort of cell block area. So if we look at the piece of intel and just wait a second for it to load, this one says Z controls BFT, Z being Zakhaev, will use me as ground conf, so ground confirmation, moving med/nuke material, office above entrance. So again, this one's pretty obvious where we need to go. We need to go to that office above the entrance. So we'll head back into a game and check it out. So the next piece, it said it was in the offices above the entrance. So the entrance is this kind of bridge. And then you've got this tower type structure at the top that lots of people often like to snipe from. That's kind of what I'm counting as the offices above the entrance. So there's different ways to get up here. You can climb up through the ladders and through the stairs and stuff. Or you can just get a helicopter and then jump off. And then there's a little hatch down here that you can drop in to get to the offices. So there's a big office here, and this is where the intel is, just on the sort of main desk in front of this painting. So again, press square, wait for the ghost thing to appear, there you go. And then you can leave the game and go get the next piece. So as ever, once you get back, go across to challenges, go to intel, go to old wounds, and you can see we're on 5 out of 6 now, and this one says Armistice 3-1 moved locations. Go to view the intel and wait for it to load. And then this one looks a little bit different. So you've got this list of chemicals or elements and saying where they're all from. And then it has this picture of a container, which I think we've seen this container before. And then it says moving underground, leave prisoner in what looks like it says something like A3. So we'll have a look and try and find this next piece. So for this one, we're heading back into the prison again, going back to the cells. So you can go in through the top like I did before, and then down into the Panopticon, and this time you don't need anything from this office or anything like that. You can just go straight down into the cells. You can see here we're in A, so we're looking for one of the cells in A. Now you can actually see the interact prompts for quite far away, so you don't need to worry too much about spending ages looking for them. Just quickly run around the cells. You can see it's here. So this one is in A, on sort of south side of it, I guess. Just in front of the stairs that go up. And then just down here, there's the intel. Press square on it. Wait for the ghost confirmation. And then you're done. Then we can go back into the menu and see the next part. So as ever, head back over to challenges. Then go to missions, and then intel. And there's a strange thing here. It actually says the old wounds is completed, and that was the last piece that you could pick up. As ever, it gives you one final piece of intel, and this one is a sort of little hand-drawn map showing something. You can kind of see where the stadium, and then there's the bridge, and then there's a sort of train track, and then there's an arrow pointing to some area over there, and it says, "I will not die a traitor." Now, even though that was actually the last piece that completes this intel, you can't do anything more, I can actually show you where that map is referring to, and there's something very strange there. So I'll jump back into a game of Plunder and just show you one more thing. So this is the area on the map that that last piece of intel is pointing to. And like I said, normally with these pieces of intel, you can't actually do anything with the last piece. It's like completed when you do the piece before that, and then there's nothing to do with that last one. It's just kind of a bit of lore for you. If you can see here, based on that hand-drawn map, there's the stadium, there's the bridge that it's showing on the hand-drawn map, and then this is that part that's being sort of pointed to. Now, over here, there's this rock, and you can sort of see it there, just next to my crosshairs. Can you see that little white interact prompt? That is an interact prompt for a backpack, and you can see it's just sitting on the rock there. Now, you can't do anything with it, and it's out of bounds, so I can run to it and grab it. There you go, and you can see it a bit more clearly there. But it won't actually do anything. So if I run up to it, press collect intel, it disappears, but then nothing else happens. So so far we don't know what that's about. It might be that that's the next piece of intel, it might be that it's bugged or something, but I thought that was kind of interesting that you can actually grab that piece of intel even though it doesn't seem to have any effect. You don't get ghost appearing in the top right or anything like that. It does sort of show that whoever the person was that was escaping, that might be where they were escaping, that's how they were getting out of Verdansk, so maybe it's going to lead on to something else in future. But I thought it was super interesting. So, if you've enjoyed this video, if you like this video, please do like and subscribe. Go check me out on Twitch, I'm Geeky Pastimes over there, I'm Geeky Pastimes on Twitter, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.